They put a paper crown on my head this morning. It's shiny, gold, and looks ridiculous on a man with hair as thin as spider silk, but I let them do it. Today I am 100 years old. There is cake downstairs and a few polite nurses and my great-grandson who is checking his watch every 3 minutes because he has somewhere else to be. I don't blame him. I used to check my watch too. I used to be the one tapping my foot, thinking about the next meeting, the next deadline, the next dollar. Looking at him, looking at you, I realize there is something I need to say. It's sitting heavy in my chest, heavier than these old bones. I wish someone had told me this sooner. Not the advice about buying stocks or flossing your teeth, not the kind of advice to make me richer. Lord knows I made money. I wish someone had told me so I wouldn't lose the things I ended up losing. So come here, pull up a chair. If you are busy, if you are grinding, if you are telling yourself to just push a little harder, this is for you. I wasn't always this old man in a wheelchair. I was a force of nature. I remember my 30s and 40s like they were a blur of motion. My days were long, stretching from the dark of the morning until the news was over at night. My to-do list was always longer than the hours I had to do it in. I wore my busyness like a badge of honor. In America, we love that, don't we? We love to say how tired we are. It makes us feel important. I remember weekends were not for resting. Weekends were just 2 extra days to think about work. I would sit at the kitchen table on Sunday mornings, papers spread out over the placemats, ignoring the smell of pancakes my husband was making. He would ask me to go for a walk, and I would hold up a finger. Just 1 minute, honey. But that minute turned into an hour, and the hour turned into the whole day. Here's the thing you have to understand. I didn't think I was a bad person. I didn't see myself as greedy. I wasn't chasing luxury cars or diamond rings. I thought I was being responsible. That is the trap. It feels so noble. You tell yourself you are doing this for the family. You are building a future. You are securing the perimeter. I believed with all my heart that I was doing the right thing. But looking back from the vantage point of a century, I see the crack in the foundation. I see the lie I was living. I treated my life like it was a waiting room for a better, calmer future that I was building brick by brick. I didn't realize that while I was laying those bricks, the actual house, the laughter, the warmth, the living part of life was crumbling behind my back. I see you nodding. You think you're different. You think, Grandma, you don't understand the pressure I'm under. Oh, honey, the pressure hasn't changed in 100 years. Just the gadgets. But the feeling that if you stop pedaling, the bicycle will fall over, that is the same. And that is exactly why you need to listen to what comes next. Because the most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves in the mirror every single morning. We need to talk about the lies, not the white lies you tell your neighbor about her casserole, but the dangerous ones. The ones that sound like wisdom but act like poison. I told myself the most dangerous lie of all, and I see you telling it too. Later I will have time. It started small. I would tell my husband, let me just finish this phase at work and then things will calm down. I would tell my children, once we are stable, once I get this promotion, then I will make it up to you. It sounded so reasonable, didn't it? It sounded like I was being a good provider. I convinced myself that I was sacrificing my now to buy us a better later. I treated time like a bank account, thinking I could deposit these hours today and withdraw them with interest when I was 60. But here is the cold, hard truth I learned too late. None of those promises I made had a deadline. When you have a project at work, you have a due date. When you have a bill to pay, there is a date on the envelope. But when you say later to your life, there is no date on the calendar. And let me tell you something I wish I knew then. A plan without a deadline is not a plan. It is just a wish that floats away. I kept waiting for the work to subside. I thought there would come a magical day when my inbox was empty and the phone stopped ringing. But that day never came. The truth is, work never decreases on its own. It is a gas that expands to fill every corner of your life if you let it. There was always another crisis, another opportunity, another once-in-a-lifetime deal. And money, money is a tricky thing. Money never tells you that you have enough. It never taps you on the shoulder and says, okay, you have plenty now. Go home and play catch with your son. No, it whispers, just a little more, just to be safe. And because I was responsible, because I wanted to be stable, I listened. I didn't realize that life was happening right then in the middle of my procrastination. While I was busy planning for that perfect future where we would all go to Disneyland and hold hands, the rainy Tuesday afternoons were slipping by. The scraped knees that needed kissing, the quiet dinners, the sun coming through the window, that was the life I was saving up for. But I was too busy earning it to actually live it. You might be thinking you are safe because you haven't made any huge mistakes. You haven't gambled away your savings or abandoned your family. But that is the scariest part. You don't lose your life in one big dramatic decision. It's not like the movies. You lose it in the small laters. You lose it 5 minutes at a time. You lose it when you check your email during dinner. You lose it when you skip the school play because of a conference call. You lose it in the thousands of tiny moments where you choose the future over the present. I built a wonderful career. I have a plaque on a wall somewhere in a building downtown. But if I could trade that plaque for just one of those Tuesday afternoons I missed, I would do it in a heartbeat, because later is a lie. Later is a place that doesn't exist. There is only right now, and for so many years I was never really there. You are probably waiting for the crash. In movies, when someone ruins their life with work, there is always a big explosion. A divorce act thrown on the kitchen table, a child screaming, "I hate you," or a heart attack in the middle of a board meeting. But I am here to tell you that is not how it happens. There was no tragedy, no one screamed, no one slammed doors. The scariest thing about losing your life to busyness is how quiet it is. The realization didn't hit me like a lightning bolt, it crept in like a fog. I remember the exact moment, though. It was a Thursday evening, about 20 years into my career. I came home early for once, maybe 6 p.m., expecting a parade. I expected surprise, happy faces, maybe my husband rushing to set another plate at the table. Instead, I walked into a quiet house. My husband was in the den reading, and the kids were in their rooms doing homework. They looked up when I entered, smiled politely, said, "Hi, Mom," and went back to what they were doing. There was no anger, but there was no excitement either. And that broke my heart more than any screaming match could have. I realized then that they had learned to live without me. They weren't waiting for me anymore. They had built a rhythm, a whole ecosystem of jokes and routines and comfort. And I was a visitor in it. Everything was fine. The bills were paid, the grades were good, the house was clean. I was just absent. I had been absent for so long that my absence had become the normal state of affairs. That is the price of the later I told you about. You think you are buying a future, but you are actually selling your place in the present. I miss the things that seem so small you don't even put them on a calendar. I miss the dinners where nothing important happened, just laughter over something silly that happened at school. I miss the quiet car rides. I miss the texture of their days. You see, relationships are not built on big vacations or expensive gifts. They are built on presence. They are built on being there when nothing is happening. And because I was always maximally efficient, because I only showed up for the important events, the graduations, the big games. I missed the 1,000 tiny glues that hold a family together. I started to notice silence in the rooms where there used to be noise. I realized that people stop asking, "When will you be home?" If the answer is always, "I don't know," or "soon," eventually they stop asking because they don't want to be disappointed, and then eventually they stop caring. That silence is heavy. It weighs more than any workload I ever carried. You don't realize it is the last time until it has already passed. There was a last time my son asked me to play catch before he decided he was too old for it, and I probably said, "In a minute, honey." There was a last time my husband tried to tell me about his day before he realized I was checking my mental to-do list while looking at him. I missed those last times because I was too busy looking forward. If you are sitting there thinking you can fix this after you make partner or after you launch this product, hear me clearly. You cannot pause people. You cannot pause love. It continues without you, changing shape. And if you are gone too long, you might not fit back into the puzzle when you finally decide to come home. So here we are. The cake is almost gone, and the nurses are starting to look at the clock. Before I go, I need to give you the advice I was desperate for when I was your age. I need to give you the map I never had. The most important thing I can tell you is this: no one is coming to save your time. I spent decades waiting for permission to slow down. I waited for my boss to tell me I'd done enough. I waited for the economy to tell me I was safe. I waited for the world to give me a break. But the world doesn't give breaks. The world takes. It is designed to take as much as you are willing to give, and then it asks for 10% more. If you are waiting for a sign to stop working so hard and start living, this is it, because if you don't draw the line, no one else will. If you don't choose how to spend your life, you are letting others choose for you. And trust me, they will not choose your happiness. They will choose your productivity. They will choose your output. They will choose their own convenience. You have to understand the nature of the trade you are making. You tell yourself it is temporary. You tell yourself it is just a season. But you are trading real life, not temporary time. You are trading the only currency that actually matters, and unlike money, you cannot print more of it. You cannot earn back a missed childhood. You cannot earn back a drifting marriage. Once that time is spent, it is gone into the ether, leaving nothing but a receipt that says, "I worked hard." I want you to go home tonight and ask yourself a hard question. Don't ask, "Am I successful?" or "Am I productive?" Ask yourself, "Where am I absent?" Who is sitting in your living room right now waiting for you to mentally clock out? Who is waiting for you that you think will always be there waiting? Maybe it's your spouse who has stopped asking for date nights. Maybe it's your parents whose voices on the phone sound a little older every week. Maybe it's yourself, the hobbies you loved, the books you wanted to read, the person you used to be before you became a machine. Be careful with their silence. Just because they don't say anything doesn't mean they don't feel it. The people who love you will often suffer in silence because they want to support you. They don't want to be another burden on your list. But that silence is not approval. It is a slow fading away. Don't let them fade. I look at my great-grandson again. He has finally put his phone away. He is looking at me, really looking at me. Maybe he heard something in my voice. I hope he did. I hope you did too. My candle is burning low. I have had 100 years, and I filled them with a lot of noise, a lot of movement, and a lot of success. But if I could blow out the candles one more time and make a wish, I wouldn't wish for more money. I wouldn't wish for a better title. I would wish for the courage to have stopped sooner. I would wish for the wisdom to know that enough is a feeling, not a number. I wish someone had told me this sooner. I wish someone had grabbed my hand, looked me in the eye, and told me that I was winning the rat race, but losing the human race. But no one did. I had to learn it the hard way, in the quiet rooms and the lonely successes. But you don't have to learn it the hard way. You still have the time that I spent. You still have the Tuesday afternoons. You still have the noise and the chaos and the beautiful, messy life waiting for you to show up. I wish someone had told me this sooner, but now I have told you. Go home, put down the phone, look at the people you love, and really, truly be there.